So class, let me do a little bit recapitulation. Please take a look. Okay, class, basically, okay. We are still in the great vehicle. Basically, class, we already finished all this. Okay, please off the mic. Okay. Okay, let's take a look now. Number one is about the vow to develop the body mind. We have finished. Okay. Number two is the application of the body mind. We have finished already. We have finished it too. Number third is about the six paramit and the four all-embracing virtue. So class, basically the six paramit, we are still in the giving paramit. So in the previous lessons, we still talk about the giving paramit, and we noticed that giving paramit in the five vehicle is very important. Okay, but once go to the three vehicle, the giving paramit disappeared. And then once we go to the great vehicle, it appeared again. And it happens so important. So let's take a look to the previous lesson. Okay. So in previous lesson, once we talk about the giving paramit, here is about the resolution to renounce is the superior aspect. Let's see. Yeah, it's this part. Okay. So in previous lesson is in the verse number 128. The resolution to renounce is the superior aspect of bestowing. So one should always practice its mental joy. Okay, so meaning to say that the kind of no matter what one does, this kind of giving will not be able to satisfy everyone. Okay, so for the beginners, okay, sometimes encounter poverty and hardship and have nothing to give. So meaning to say that if let's say we got nothing to give, we can try to do the giving by using the visualization and do the chanting. So remember that we can do in Mahayana Buddhist temple, we used to go to do the chanting. We call it offering to the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. We offer to all the six realms by using the samadhi power with the help of the mantra. Then we can do that. So according to the text, this type of giving is the best, is the superior compared to the rest. Okay, but of course, how effective the offering, it depends on our samadhi power. Second is regards how concentration we are. Basically, since we don't have psyche, we are not able to see how effective our visualization is. But anyway, from here, there's a hope for those who don't really have the, who don't really have the requisite to give away. So this is in the previous lesson. So remember, we talk about the mantra, the mantra which is involved in the offering. Okay. So next time, Sally, especially you can concentrate well. Please try to memorize the mantra and understand the power of the mantra. So basically, once you chant Namo Savatata Yeto, you try to visualize the food, you enlarge it. Virtually you enlarge it. So by doing all this, you can fulfill this type of giving, which is considered the most superior giving. Okay, so let's take a look. So after this, we go to the verse number 129. Okay, yeah, Mr. Leong, can you please read it out first, Mr. Leong? When attached.
When attached to the three wheels, giving is described as worldly. Giving that is not connected to the three wheels is called the world transcending paramita. Exiting from the three realms and staying in the all-perfect wisdom is the nature of paramita. How can one reach the other shore by practicing giving? The commentaries say that the first five transcendents are like the blind, while prajna is like the guide. The reason that giving and other paramitas enable one to enter the Buddha way is entirely due to the embracing and guiding power of prajna, or wisdom. For giving to be a paramita, therefore, one must practice with the skillful needs of nothing to be attained, prajna. With regard to giving, there are three views or three aspects. Number one, the giver. Number two, the receiver, the beneficiary of the act of giving. And thirdly, the alms, the object given. Only when these three are present can giving take place. But if one does not have the illumination of the wisdom that comes from the nature of things being empty, then when one gives, one will be attached to these three areas as well. For example, one may think that there is a real self who gives, that there is an actual receiver of alms to whom one gives, and that there is a real object, big or small, good or bad, that is given. If one is thoroughly unable to understand emptiness, that all is without an inherent nature, one will be attached to phenomena everywhere. Grasping and attaching, one is bound to I and mine, and is unable to leave the three realms to enter Buddha way. This kind of giving, which remains attached to phenomena, is called the worldly paramita of giving. Actually, this kind of giving does not really become a paramita, but it is conventionally designed as such.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank
Finish, please thumb up, please. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, class, maybe I would like to remind you all, see whether do you remember the giving between the 5 vehicle and the 3 vehicle, okay? So class, can you try to recall that in 5 vehicle, what is the factor to determine the merit of the giving in 5 vehicle? Okay, basically, class, you can go through go through the sketch, maybe you can get the clues there, okay, in the giving part, or you go to the chapter 5 and look for the giving section. I give you a little bit time, okay, see are you able to get it or not. What are the factors to determine the merit of giving in 5 vehicles? Class, can you take a look, okay, to the screen? Class, I would like you to try to find out the text of what pages regards this practice of giving, contemplate the merit and virtue of giving, okay? Yeah, it's in this part.
Is it under the paramita of giving?
No, it's in the 5 vehicle.
227. Huh?
5 vehicle, not
5 vehicle.
5 vehicle. It's in the chapter 3 class.
Chapter 3.
Chapter 3, yes. 5 vehicle means chapter 3, okay? It's very important, if you cannot recall, I have to force you to recall, or meaning to say everything you forget. Okay.
The dana.
Yeah, the dana. Yes, no, it must be relevant to this. Contemplate the merit and virtue of the giving. What are the factors determine the merit and the virtue? See, it's in the chapter 3. Are you able to get the point? Actually, the fastest way is to go to look for the verse. Then from the verse, you will know already. So class, you should begin with observing the right practice of the 3 meritorious action, and you go to the merit and virtue of the giving. You should look for the verse. The verse is a summary actually. See, are you able to get it or not?
Sifu, is it right views and right livelihood?
Oh, no, wrong already. Okay, it's regards.
Okay.
Okay,
One should give in a proper way and not from social pressure, from fear, or from indebtedness. One should never expect rewards or merely follow family traditions, nor should one ask for divine good fortune or fame. Right now,
okay.
47.
Yeah, actually your reading is not very clear for me. Okay, class, I think I'm able to find for you already. Let's take a look. Okay, okay, I'm able to look for you already. Yes, wait lah. I'm about to get for you already. Okay, here is it. Verse number 47. Let's take a look, class.
46. 46, isn't it?
Verse number 46. Okay, class, please have a look. You see, having compassionate respect, number one. Okay, then second is it's regards the attitude. All right. Then you see there okay, they give willingly and in ways that are benefit to other with a compassionate respect. Okay. Then remember this one is the value of the thing. Okay. Who are we going to give? So class, do you remember? Let's see. Verse number 46. Okay, yes, it's in the 46 and 45. Okay, no, class, do you remember? Okay, yes, it's in verse number 46, meaning to say that number one is about your heart. If you are with the respectful and compassionate, the heart is very determined. Second is the value of the item. Okay, the bigger the value, the greater the merit. And the third is who are you going to give? Okay, if you give to the right people, okay, for example, the beggar, one is handicapped, one is without handicap. The handicapped beggar, if you give him, you will get a better merit. Just remember, we discussed this before. Yes,
Yeah.
So always remember, if you are in the 5 vehicle, you are in your giving is the merit of your giving is determined by this few factor. Class, we have notes. Please cross-reference. Class, can you please do the cross-reference with this giving and the great vehicle giving? Okay. You have to cross. You have to do the cross-reference. Then you know all the different. There's a different between the giving with the different level. Okay. Okay, Sally, you can follow. Mr. Leong, do you follow? Are you able to follow, Mr. Leong? On the mic, I didn't hear you.
I'm able to follow verse is 5.
45 is
I'm able to follow.
45, 46, that will be correct. Elena, do you follow? You get it? Get it. Okay. So please do the cross-reference. Okay. Okay, class. But for great vehicle, there's a totally different. For great vehicle, how to determine the value is whether you have the knowledge of emptiness or not. Okay, class, if let's say you don't have the knowledge of the emptiness, for you, there is an actual giver, there is an actual receiver, then there is an actual thing. So meaning to say that if you feel these three things are actual, then your merit is not great already in great vehicle. So class, do you remember? Okay, you have to follow this. Okay, so one thing, okay, nowadays, okay, maybe Sally, you try to do the giving, okay, so you make a cake again, okay, and then maybe you want to offer to me, okay. So Sally, you think, are you in the level of the great vehicle of the giving, or you are more in the 5 vehicle giving? 5
vehicle.
Why you are not in the great vehicle? Why?
Because there's actual actual giver, actual receiver, and actual object.
Okay, if that's the case, how can you to upgrade yourself, to make yourself that the 3 things are not actual? How to upgrade it?
How
Mr. Liang, how does Sally to upgrade the giving become the, make the 3 items become not actual? On the mic, Mr. Leong, you forgot on the mic.
I think we must not have the notion of I and mine in the giving.
How to make you without the notion I or my? How? She face look very cute. True Vipassana. Vipassana. Yeah, Vipassana is the only way can make you feel that the 3 items are non-self. So Sally, basically, since you haven't reached the Vipassana, for you it is normal that you feel the actual for the 3 items. Okay, if let's say we are still in the 5 vehicle, in order to get the better merit, you have to, find the right target, make sure with the right view, and also with the right purpose, and also the value of the item. All will determine your merit. Do you get it? Okay, so meaning to say that Bodhisattva, the giving part is not normal people already. They already attain to the Vipassana. At the moment they do the giving. You see or not? It's not the normal people. We need to say the Bodhisattva mentioned here is already have the knowledge of the Vipassana. Again, class, there is a paradox here. Basically, if you go to look for the charity organization, okay, no matter what type of charity they do, basically they don't very strong have the Vipassana. They don't. Okay, if let's say for those with a great Vipassana knowledge, basically they are the meditation master in the meditation center. They wouldn't go to the charity organization to do this type of work. For those who deeply involved in charity organization, basically they don't meditate. Am I right, class? Am I right? Basically, it used to be happen like that. You see, not so that is the contradict. That is sometimes the theory doesn't really fit the reality. Okay, you get it or not? Because you go to Vipassana, you seldom see the Vipassana attainer go to do the charity organize the charity work, because the class, charity work is not that easy, Okay. Recently, have you ever heard about the split between I think the Bill Gates? Is it Bill Gates, right? Bill Gates and his wife, right? Okay. Remember, Bill Gates mentioned actually, even though they organize a very good NGO, basically, even though we also do the donation to the NGO, but in order every single dollar to reach to really reach to the needy, it's not that easy. They say so many things. So meaning to say that if let's say you want to do well the giving work, you have to really fully engage yourself. They wouldn't go to do the meditation and then come back and do the giving. Seldom. It doesn't happen in this way. So sometimes, so just always remember that the sutta what mentioned quite different with the reality. Okay, if I can do well with Vipassana, why I go to do the giving? So I just meditate. Then you come and teach you meditation. Easy one, all right? Okay, so that's the contradiction. Okay, class, can you check for me? I want you to check for me the reference for this. Class, you see the first 5 transcendents are the blind. Prajna is like the guide. Number 31. What is the reference, class? The footnote number 31 is in the chapter 3. Is in the chapter 5 already. This is chapter 5.
DZ.
DZ is stand for what?
大智度论.
大智度论. Remember the Greek treatise. The Greek treatise, which is by Nagarjuna, right? So you see, Nagarjuna Nagarjuna has been labeled as the second man after the Shakyamuni, is in the Mahayana era. You see, so meaning to say his wisdom is very strong. We say you must have the prajna to guide your 5 paramit, or they are blind. So meaning to say that we do the other 5 paramit with the guide of the wisdom of the prajna. So class, you can ask yourself, basically, you used to go to the temple, Do you think most of the people they are guided by the prajna by doing the 5 paramit? Do they? Not really, right? You see, sometimes the text is quite different with the reality, meaning to say that I don't know what to say. I don't know whether the text is too wonderful, it's too good to be true, or we are too shallow. Sometimes I also don't know what. Okay, get it? Okay, so here is the meaning. You see, the skill means of the nothing. Okay, so here we mentioned all this. Okay, then next we go to the next paragraph. Sorry, one more footnote. Can you look for me? Number 30 for me. Existing 3 realm and staying the all perfect wisdom is the nature of the paramit. Number 30. It is also the DJ. DZ.
No, this one is Mahaprajna Paramita Sutra.
Mahaprajna Paramita Sutra. Okay, class, remember the Greek treatise is the commentary to the Mahaprajna Paramita. Okay, so do you remember Mahaprajna? The volume of the Mahaprajna Paramita is about 600 volume. Okay, remember it's in the Chinese classical text, 600 volume. So the commentary is the Greek treatise. This is the commentary to that. And Reverend Yin Sun is the expert of the Tachiturun. Reverend Yin Sun, he's the expert of it. Maybe next life you should learn Mandarin, because if you don't really understand the Mandarin, it's not that easy for you to understand the feel. Okay, but never mind, you can understand Shakespeare better than us. But Shakespeare is not Buddha. Okay, so next we go to the next paragraph. Okay, so Sally, your turn to read. On the other hand, please.
On the other hand, if in giving one can align oneself with either nothing to be attained wisdom that comes from the realization of emptiness, or the wisdom that does not differentiate with regard to the 3 views of giver, receiver, and object given, and if one can also understand profoundly the nature of things as empty by not clinging to the form of self or the form of things, then this is giving with skillful means unbound by affliction. This giving, able to act freely and depart from attachment, is called the world transcending paramita of giving. The real world transcending paramita is giving done by bodhisattvas of the great graphs, whose wisdom is non-differentiating. The bodhisattvas above the purposive stage, who align themselves with wisdom that realizes emptiness, are called close to the paramita bodhisattvas. Such bodhisattvas are able to approach the Buddha way, the transcending of giving stripped and empty of the substance of the three will. All practices and all paramitas should be cultivated in such a manner.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, class, take a look. You see how, if let's say you are able to understand the nature of things as empty, So meaning to say you are unbound by the affliction. Then your giving is called it as a world transcending paramit of giving. So class, okay, do you get it? Huh? And class, basically, the bodhisattva, the ranks of the bodhisattva is about 52 in total. 52, all right. And for the bodhisattva who are able with this type of a non-attachment is about in the level number 5. It's in the level number 5. Let me check for you. Class, do you know that there is a 52 stages from the from the preliminary stage of the bodhisattva to the Buddhahood? There's totally 52 rank. You don't know, right? Okay, so try to look for you the English. Okay, you have to know. Once we chant all the Huayan Jing, all this is mentioned. You see, this is a great ground. Okay, let me look it out for you. Okay. Stages. Okay, got class. Lotus happiness. Okay. 52 stage of the Buddhism practice. Okay, so this is a dictionary. I think it is good lah. Okay. We go to the lotus happiness. Okay. It will be mentioned later on. Class, take a look. This is the 52 stages of the Bodhisattva practice. Okay, let me make it bigger. Okay, you see, think, dealing, behavioral practice, transference, and the development. Then 2 more, you go to the Buddhahood. Okay, class, let me show you this first. Okay, you see, for those who can attain the world transcending paramit is the great ground. So class, a great ground is similar with this. Is the stage of the development. Okay, so this is the great ground. Okay, so class, can you please copy down all the name? Besides here, then you understand that Bodhisattva with this level are able to do the giving with a non-attachment. Okay, so please just copy down. So totally 52 stages. Just write the keyword we will do lah. Okay, finish class. Finish. Let's take a look. What is the reference? The reference is from Jewel Necklace Sutra. Okay, you see 52 stages are enumerated in the Jewel Necklace Sutra. Please write down. This is the reference. Jewel Necklace Sutra. Okay, class, once you finish, please go back to the footnote. Let's take a look whether Jewel Necklace Sutra is mentioned in our book now. Please try to find out Jewel Necklace Sutra or the similar translation we do. Okay, available, Sally? You try to just roughly go through the footnote for this chapter. Are you able to see Jewel Necklace Sutra? Agree? Sally says it's not available. Elena, agree? You don't see it at all. Okay, class, I meaning to say that basically for the Bodhisattva, we understand maybe mostly from our Tamsaka Sutra. Because our Tamsaka Sutra also mentioned the 52 stages. So this is the necklace. This is the jewel necklace actually also is one of the version of the Bodhisattva precept. Okay, class? So just let you know lah, huh? Okay, so that is the reference. Okay, let's continue. So remember the Greek ground, we need to say is similar with the development. Okay, now we go to the pyramid of the precept. We finished the giving already. Okay, Elena, your turn to read, please.
The parameter of precepts, current 130. Keeping the precepts put an end to the injury of others and gives rise to universal fearlessness. If one practices giving and yet is unable to keep one's body and mind proper, what one does often injures and disturbs sentient beings. This kind of help will not achieve the goal of benefiting sentient beings. Even children, if given candy with one hand and eaten with the other, will not have a good relationship with you. And if one is degenerate, one may lose one's enterprise of wealth. And then in a future birth, one may lose one's human form. And then how can one be benefit to others? In order to give, one needs to keep the precepts. Although they are worldly precepts, world transcending precepts, and supreme world transcending precepts, the principle is the same. Protecting lives. To protect life means to be solicitous towards others and respect them. To respect and safeguard others' rights and freedoms, one has to keep the precepts properly in one's mind and body and not injure others. The act of keeping the precepts is derived from the vow of not injuring others and is expressed in speech and in physical conduct. Keeping the precepts universally gives rise to fearlessness and create harmony and freedom. Keeping the precepts of not killing, for example, does not mean not killing only A or B or not killing just today and tomorrow. It means that one abandons forever the thought of killing any sentient beings. Thus, no one will ever be threatened by or fear being ruled by those who keep the precepts of not killing. Not killing is explained based on the precepts of the rules and regulation and has the positive sense of benefiting sentient beings. When one is able to be like this, then one can speak of the embracing of the precept of the good dharma and the precept of benefiting sentient beings.
Okay, thank you so much.
Sifu, excuse me a minute. I just want to pull in my laundry. Sorry.
No problem, please. Okay. Okay, class, please have a check. So what we highlight, these 5 precepts, parami of precept, it is similar with the 5 precepts we learned before. Please have a check. It is similar. Same or not same?
Not killing like that's all.
Yeah, is it same? Quite same. Do you feel that? Quite same, right? Yeah, that's true. Okay, class, you see, even though now we talk about the giving up from the bodhisattva, but basically it's quite similar with the 5 precepts. A few points. Number 1, class, if you want to, the precept is the fundamental of giving. Because if you give people, but you don't love the people and you always punch to the people, they don't like you one. It is correct. So he quote an example. He say, you want to give to the people, but you must give by love. If you give and punch people, they don't like you. So meaning to say the precept is a very important fundamental for the giving. Okay, second, precept has the power and the karma to make us to regain the form of the human. So meaning to say, next slide, in order to gain, you want to regain the body as a human, you must do the giving. You must hold the precept well. Why? Because if you lost your body, how can you do the giving, right? So it's the second point. And the third one, what is the significance of the precept? Meaning to say that once you hold the precept, meaning to say that you try to make vow that, and you try to make a pledge that your mind are totally free from from harming any being, including the invisible, you see. So meaning to say that this promise is quite noble, you see. You see, once you make a promise, meaning to say that the being who is surrounding you, whether visible or invisible, they will feel safe because you promised already. You never hurt them, no matter through verbal speech, verbal action or the thought. You see, and it will include you won't use mantra to hurt the invisible being. Not sometimes the Surangama mantra or this great compassionate mantra are very powerful. You can hit them and they can be wounded. You see, so if you make a promise, meaning to say you won't do all this. Basically, most of the people they are fearful. Why they hope that they feel enjoy if you hold the precept. The reason is because they will free from the fearful from being hurt. So that's the reason why the precept, if you compare with the giving, the merit is greater than the giving. See or not? Right or not? But if you do the real precept, meaning to say that even better than the giving if you compare. So basically, if you want to convince people, after doing the giving, you want to encourage people to do the precept, we have to talk about the advantage of the giving and the shortcoming of the giving. The advantage of the precept. So people, they will go further. But anyway, giving is still the fundamental. You must do both. But if, let's say, and if you have done quite well in the giving, make sure your precept hold well, so that the people will like you, you see, and sincerely like you, or they wouldn't like you, because the basic spiritual behind the precept is still the compassion. Okay, so that is the meaning there. Yeah, Mr. Leong, want to say something, right? I'm frozen. Okay.
Yes, Sifu, what's the difference? Frozen,
No,
okay, now?
Okay, ready. Speak, please.
What is the difference between these worldly precepts, transcending world precepts, and these supreme world transcending precepts? What are these 3 differences?
Okay. If let's say the word precept, meaning to say that it's about the 5 regard. Okay, if 5 regard, in order to, 5 precept is the item, all right. If the word transcending, meaning to say that it's the bhikkhu precept. Bhikkhu and bhikkhuni precept are the transcending precept, because the precept will lead them for the liberation. And the most superior one is the Bodhisattva precept. Okay, so class you can joke down. Now, here is it. What Mr. Leong mean. Worldly precepts, the 5 precept. This is the bhikkhu bhikkhuni precept. So this is the Bodhisattva precept. Okay, then let's take a look. Yeah, basically all the point has already been mentioned. Now we go to 131. So Sally, your turn to read. Breaking precept.
Breaking the precepts is the root of all problems, such as evil destinies and poverty. Keeping the precepts is the root of threefold goodness, a better future, decidedly superior fruit, and by keeping the pure precepts for the benefit of others, entrance to the great vehicle. Why does one do not accept and keep pure precepts? Because one does not know the mistake of breaking them and the virtue of keeping them. If one violates the serious precept, the natural precept, regardless of whether one has accepted them or not, one commits an offense. So it is strange that someone who knows that breaking the precept is a serious matter are nevertheless afraid to keep them. In reality, by relying on the blessings of the 3 treasures externally and profound vow internally to receive the precept, one will even more be able to be pure. One will even more able to be pure and not violate the precept. Breaking the precept is the root of all problems, including falling into the 3 evil destinies and poverty. Ordinarily, it is said that the stinginess brings forth the retribution of poverty, and breaking the precept brings forth the retribution of falling into evil destiny. This understanding is based on a particular meaning. Birth as an animal or a ghost is considered to be regression, but some of these beings have blessed rewards. Among humans, there are some who are utterly poor. Such are the different rewards and retributions of giving and keeping the precepts. If one violates the serious precepts and falls into hell, one will definitely be extremely poor, possessing nothing. If one keeps the highest pure precept of the world, one will be reborn in the heavens, rich and happy. So it is clear that violating the precepts is also the cause of poverty, and keeping the precepts is also the cause of being healthy and wealthy, of happy and wealthy. One should know that if one concentrates only on one's conduct and on exercising all self-control without giving, one will be reborn as a human but have the retribution of poverty. If one keeps the precepts in connection with compassion and give full expression to the positive meaning of benefiting others, one will definitely have riches, happiness, and glory when one reborns in the heaven.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, class. Okay. For this paragraph, we notice one thing the author tried to express to us. Okay, class. Basically, we always mention like this, right? If let's say you are stingy, you don't do much giving, so next slide you will be in poverty, right? Okay, and then basically we said that if you hold the 5 precepts very well, then you won't avoid to falling to the 3 evils state. Okay, but this is correct in the common sense way. But if let's say, you see, if you don't hold the precept well and you fall to the hell, quite sure you are also in the poverty, right? And if you hold the precept well and you reborn, become the deva, quite sure you will be rich, right? So meaning to say that sometimes the precept itself will imply that whether you are wealthy or poor. You hold the precept well because the realm you go, it will carry. I mean, how should I put it? The realm you go, you will. How should I put it? Meaning to say whether it's wealth or poor, basically it's really attached as a condition to the particular realm. You see. Of course, if no matter how, if you reborn become the deva, sensuous deva, quite sure you are rich. Whatever you like, it will appear. Whatever you are, there must be a sufficient requisite. If you're reborn as a hungry ghost or the hell, quite sure you are always full. You will experience insufficient requisite. Okay. So now we go to the next paragraph. Okay, Mr. Leung, your turn to read. The virtue.
The virtue of keeping the precept is the root of the threefold goodness. First, those who keep the precepts with the intention of having better future lives will be reborn as humans or divine beings with riches, happiness, and comfort. Second, those who keep the precepts by relying on the resolution to renounce will attain the holy fruit and the superior dharma. And one will definitely not fall back into birth and death. Third, if one keeps the precepts by relying on bodhi mind to benefit others and keep the pure sila or precepts, one will enter the great wheel. These precepts, called the great vehicle precepts, are the cause of becoming a Buddha. Therefore, when the specific liberating precepts of the 7 classes of discipline, whether the Upasaka precepts, śrāmaṇera's precepts, or bhikkhu precepts, are received and kept with bodhi mind as their origin, they become the specific regulations and rights for bodhisattvas. Some people think that the specific liberating precepts for the 7 classes of disciples belong to the small vehicle, and that because they are practitioners of the great vehicle, they do not need to accept and keep the specific liberating precepts of the Shravakas. This deviant view causes confusion and leads to the decline of Buddhism.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, class again. Okay, as I mentioned here, if the intention to hold the precept is very important. If you hold the precept with the aiming next life to become a human and also become the deva, then the merit of the precept will bring you back. Second, if you hold the precept with the intention for the liberation, become a Sravaka, and the precept, the merit of the precept will, will bring you for the for the nibbana. And the third one is the Buddhahood is the same. So class, you see or not, here we repeat again, even though it's a 6 paramit with a different intention, it will bring us to the different outcome. Okay. But one thing is, sometimes in Mahayana, if let's say we hold the Bodhisattva precept, some people will ignore the Sravaka precept. So this is not right. It will be, it will make people confused. How should I put it? How can I make why it happened in this way? See in class, if let's say you hold the Bodhisattva precept, remember in the previous mini lesson talk about Bodhisattva precept. Meaning to say for the Bodhisattva precept, is the precept, the spiritual behind, the spirit behind is always we prioritize the living being. It is correct. Make sure they always we learn the Dharma and faithful to the Dharma. Okay. But the point is, if the class, if let's say you are the layman, okay, you hold the upasaka, you are the upasaka, and I'm the monk, I'm the bhikkhu, I have the bhikkhu precept. If we ignore all the fundamental precept, but overemphasize the Bodhisattva precept, you will create confusion. Why? Because you see, our fundamental precept is so important to support the identity and as a basic for us, you see. Like you see, I'm the Sravaka, you see. So I'm a monk. So meaning to say that, okay, sometimes in Bodhisattva precept, you will mention that but as a Bodhisattva, you should be bow to whatever people you see, because everybody they have a nature of the Buddha nature. So we should bow over them. Okay, so you see, this type of a sentence appear in the Bodhisattva Sutra, you know. But if let's say as a monk, I go to the Bawa, the layman, or maybe the children, it's because I think they got the Buddha nature as a Bodhisattva precept. It will just create confusion with me. Basically, we should practice the Bodhisattva precept based on the Sravaka and also the layman 5 precept. With this fundamental, then we do the Bodhisattva, or we use the Bodhisattva precept to destroy a lot of protocol. You see or not? As I mentioned, you are using the Bodhisattva precept, you are using the Bodhisattva precept to destroy all the protocol. So make sure that before you hold the Bodhisattva precept, you must keep well the Sravaka precept and you all the 5 precepts. So basically in Mahayana, there will be layman Bodhisattva, okay? And we got the bhikkhu Bodhisattva, because we hold the precept both together. Seldom single one, must be both one. So that is the reason. If you go to the ordination, to the ceremony, after the ceremony, we call you Upasaka Bodhisattva, Upasaki Bodhisattva, Bhikkhu Bodhisattva, or Bhikkhuni Bodhisattva. So that is the status we call her. Okay, next, let's take a look. So this is the meaning here. Okay. So next, the verse number 132. Okay, Elena, your turn, please.
Those who accept and keep the pure precepts should guard them as if they were a life preserver. They should not look down on those who break them, or be obsessed with keeping or breaking them. Those who accept and keep the pure precepts and then break them do so because temptations of the environment or the impulse of afflictions are too strong. But more important, this happens because one is too weak to keep the pure precepts. Otherwise, one would be like a city with strong defenses that, despite being attacked by powerful enemies, hold fast and does not fall. Guarding the pure precepts with strength is thus an important practice. Although ordinary people may not violate serious precepts, they often ignore minor mistakes because they do not know that small violations are the cause, however remote, for failure. This is like not fixing a minute leak that can lead to the bursting of a dam. Take, for example, not eating meat. If one is used to being a vegetarian, it is not easy for one to break this precept. For one is disgusted with the offensive smell of the meat. However, if one is not determined to avoid meat in the first place, or feels happy about eating meat even after being a vegetarian for a long time, one may break the precepts because of one's weaknesses.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, class. Okay. Please, you all on the mic, please now. Okay, okay. We try to figure out how come a vegetarian for 20 years finally still start eating the meat. Please try. What will be the reasons behind for those who practice vegetarian for 30 years and then turn out finally eat the meat again? Yes. Okay. What's the reason? Can you tell me through your experience?
I have a friend. She was sick. She wasn't well, and
Yes.
she was advised to take meat. I don't know who advised her all those. I don't know lah. So what she did is like the boil soup or things like that. She drink the water. She don't eat the meat. So I also don't know whether that's right or wrong.
Okay. So you see, what I want to discussion, let's take a look. Okay, a person who take 20 years as a vegetarian, then it end up still eating the meat. Number one, is it possible that this particular person, even though he doesn't take meat for 20 years, but maybe he still enjoy the feeling of the meat? Possible?
No.
No, I mean
sometimes most of the time it's because of medical reasons.
No. Now it's not the medical reason. Okay, for those after 20 years become vegetarian, end up become a meat, still go back and take meat. Number one, maybe he enjoyed the feeling of meat, right? The possible is that, right?
Possibility.
Yeah, that's a possible. Okay, number one. Second, he doesn't. The meat doesn't smelly for him. Possible, right? Possible, right?
Usually it becomes very smelly for vegetarian.
I know, but maybe he doesn't feel smelly. This is the reason why he will go back to eat meat. It is correct. Okay, it's possible, right? Okay, it is possible that
correct. But after cooking, the smell is very nice.
Because you're not a vegetarian. Okay, the third one. Okay, let's say the guy he say, actually in my dream, I dream for eating meat before. Is that possible? Possible, right? Because if you're the dreamer, if you're the dreamer, you always think dreaming that you eat the meat. So in the reality, you turn up to eat back the meat. This is normal, right? It's acceptable, right? Okay, so plus, so you see, that is the reason why people finally they can hold the precept. Number one, if after 20 years in your heart you still love the meat and you don't feel the joy in the vegetarian, in the vegetable, you can't hold it long. Number one. Second, you don't get the alternative. If let's say you see nowadays, ayo, we got a vegetarian steak, vegetarian burger, and the taste better than the meat. How come you will turn out to eat the meat again, right? Am I right? If you got the alternative, right, and the alternative even better than the meat itself, you see? Okay, number second. And the third one, like me, sometimes my neighbor, they cook the meat soup, wow, I feel smelly. So I know that it's quite hard for me to eat back the meat because no matter how good the vegetarian burger, I think the smelly of the meat is they are not able to make it up. Am I right? The smelly, you can't make it out. You can't make it out. But some people, they prefer the smelly, you see. I think Mr. Leong maybe like this. The feeling of the smelly is something which is so attachable. Okay. So you see, class, basically, what just now, the two paragraphs mentioned, people, why they cannot hold the precept is number one, they're very weak. They're very vulnerable. They still feel joy with this thing. And they don't see the advantage of taking the vegetarian, and then to feel the joy. So finally end up they were gone already. So class, you see, so this is what we try to figure out why people cannot hold the precept. So we should be pitiful over them. Class, it will be the same for those prefer play the 4D, right? People after 20 years still cannot give it up, even though they never strike even once in the simple way. There must be the joy, there must be the hope there. They are not able to get the alternative from this. They fail to find it, and a lot of excitement, a lot of a gang talk about this. They always feel enjoy. They don't feel lonely. So it ends up that 20 years they still play the 4D even though they never strike before. See or not? So meaning to say a person, if they fail to keep the precept, there must be the reason behind. So that's why the author say you should be compassionate over that. I think it is quite reasonable. They must be reasonable. And for you and I, you see, so Elena, you see, with your higher position, okay, maybe Mr. Leong, you are the manager before. Why you can resist from being corrupted? There must be some reason. Why some people they will be corrupted? There must be some reason. Basically, if you are really full, your stomach really full, it's not necessary for you to go to neighborhood and steal people's food. Am I right? You're full already while your stomach is full. You must be stomach empty, or maybe you certain food is not available. Then you go to the neighbor and steal people's food. You see. So class, it is good so I mean, after the lesson, please go back and think which one precept you can't hold well, which one you hold very well, and think for the reason why. There must be the factor is mentioned here. You try to analyze, then the weak one, you have to be always to remind yourself. Okay. Yeah, Mr. Leong, want to say something? Yes, please.
Yes, Sifu. But Buddha during his lifetime does not enforce people not to eat meat, because it depends on the situation and the place they are in.
Yeah. Well, basically, once we talk about the vegetarian, actually, as the bhikkhu precept, allows meat. The text is very clear, okay. We are allowed to take meat as we do the pindabat, okay. It's very clear, But now we as a vegetarian, okay. I just talk about the Theravada. Here, if you go to see Koinka, why they opt for become vegetarian? There will be some reason. Because they do the meditation of metta bhavana. So after you finish, okay, may all living being be well, be happy. Then after the meditation, you start to eat the drumstick again. It's a paradox, right? So that's the reason why this type of meditation center, they end up, they say, we don't want to take meat. Because a contradiction, You always tell people that we are metta bhavana. Then after that, we start the drumstick already. And then enjoy, you see. So that's why Pao Siado and also Koinka, they all give up the meat. And also they also notice sometimes meat consumption can reduce your samadhi power. So that's the reason why they opt for that. Okay. Of course, some people, this is the endless controversy issue lah, Mr. Leong. Oh, okay, so some can persist. Okay, never mind. Just let them persist. They take it as a food. It's up to them. But whether they really cannot let go the joy is your issue lah. But for us,
That's right.
but for us as a vegetarian, we must be based on the compassionate to be this vegetarian. If we say we are the vegetarian, but we always eat the vegetarian steak, vegetarian burger. Well, it's not sincere. Am I right? It's not
sincere.
You're not sincere. You always think for the texture. You always look for the very real. So close to the meat, the plant-based meat. Always talk about the plant-based meat, meaning to say is just to maybe you do something to let people see you see. It's not the sincere one, you see. So anyway, if as a vegetarian, we should try to be sincere but sometimes I think the vegetarian burger, vegetarian steak, sometimes it play roles as an expedient because if you take meat for a long time, suddenly turn to become the vegetarian is very hard. You need an alternative. I think this time a vegetarian burger, vegetarian steak is the alternative. Before you really turn out become a real vegetable or consumer the way I see it but I just know why they make it so real. well, okay, for commercialization that would be fine, but you as a replacement for the meat is still reasonable. For the wealth, for the environment protection also good also So anyway, you can start to do this Well, anyway, the plant meat is not cheap I tried before. Oh, very expensive. Sometimes even worse than the real meat at the price. I checked it before. Wow, very expensive. The plant-based meat from the branded one. I tried the Europe and American. Wow, very expensive. Okay, so you must have a heart to do something. Yeah, Mr. Leong, want to add something? Yes.
Yes, seafood. The thing is, this vegetarian, they try to as close as possible to the original meat flavor. So the thing is, they do not have the right intention in the first place to be vegetarian.
No, I don't see that, Mr. Leong. They make it quite close to the meat so that there is an alternative for the meat before they really change to become vegetarian. They need a medium, they need an alternative, you see, a very close meat. So once they be here a moment, finally they must shift back to the vegetarian. Not the whole life with the plant-based meat. No, not for that purpose, So Mr. Leong, do you get it? So that's why the way I see this is more positive. It can be an alternative for you, but finally you have to shift back with a good intention for being vegetarian. That will be fine. Okay. Well, okay. Time's up already. I got to do something.
But actually, in fact, I think that.
What? Yes. You just finished the sentence. What do you want to say?